If you email me and I email you back, you usually see on my signature line in my email, as featured on House Hunters. And that's right. It was a really fun experience. So my story about HGTV's House Hunters. I was not just the real estate agent when I was on the show, but I was actually the buyer. So I had a client apply for the show and we were gonna film. And then when he got the filming dates, we quickly learned that he could not film. They didn't want him to do any work and he was ready to get going. So I was like, well, I'm actually buying a house right now. So I ended up asking my friend Sarah if she wanted to be on House Hunters with me. She's a huge DIYer. She had already had her first house. So we sat in front of the fireplace, we made a little video and we sent it in because they wanted to hear from us. Sure enough, I got picked mainly because I didn't say what everyone else was saying. Like most people say, I want an open concept floor plan and this good neighborhood and whatnot. And I was like, well, I'm single and I just want a good tree in the front yard and a great backyard, something along those lines. But what you don't know is that on House Hunters, I actually had already purchased my house. I didn't move in yet. And so what we did is the week before that they come out and film, we picked a few more houses that were on the market. So first day of filming, it's a long one. It is a lot of work. So you're filming, you're sitting there talking about your story and what you like to do, and they're really getting a lot of B-roll footage, as you call it, so just things you're doing out in Austin. Filming on South Congress with your friend and trying to keep it casual is super funny. And then a car would go by with loud music and they'd be like, cut, redo. And then, every time you're trying to tell something, essentially you mess up on camera, right? Everyone does. And then it's exhausting. And so by the end of it, I was just like, line, just tell me what you want me to say. So it is a little bit contrived. I wouldn't say it's scripted, but they definitely want to showcase it, just like with any production, what they want the viewers to see. So day one is shooting around, and I swear my friend and I looked like we were a couple. Nothing wrong with that. It was just really funny because here I am, a single girl, and they're like, well, you can't just be on the show by yourself. You have to have someone. And I'm like, well, I'll just bring my friend Sarah along. So my friend Sarah and I were like working in our backyard with powered tools. We were already done with the project, right? But they had to get this footage. And we always joke that when we were done, we're sitting in the kitchen and they're like, okay, y'all are going to sip mimosas, okay? And so we were sitting there, we're like, cheers, drink. And she had to say, I can't cook, but I can make a mean mimosa. We had to do that about 10 times. And so by the time we were done, we were a little drunk. We were just like, I can't cook, but we just were talking about kitchen stuff and all the footage for the show. So then the next couple days of filming is walking around houses. And again, anything you touch, you have to go back and they have to get the inside shot. So I'd be like, oh, this is really nice. They're like, stop. And then you have to go back into the room and touch it exactly where you touched it the first time. So everything takes 5 times as long as it actually would. So we toured my house and that was pretty easy. I was already buying that house. All of my things were actually in the garage. So as soon as we were done filming, I was ready to move into the house and make it my own and start on some projects because they were coming back a month later to do the follow-up of after being in the house. So we picked 2 houses that are on the market. One of them was actually on the market at the time. And we tore this house and there are people who are trying to see it. And the owner's so excited about my episode and the house being featured on HGTV. But he was also like, can y'all wrap up? People are trying to see the house. And we did a good job. They were very nice and respectful. The last house was really hard to film. We actually had to scrap it and go with another one. So I was kind of trying to show 3 different types of houses. Do I want the fixer-upper? Do I want the house that I had purchased? Or, was there, the third house was just kind of something I would never buy. But TV and the audiences don't need to see that. And then I got my friends in a softball game because they wanted more B-roll footage of us playing, or no, it was kickball. They got my friends together for a kickball game. They wanted to see us playing kickball and being active, and it was pretty funny. We're all wearing the same shirt even though we're on 2 different teams, but maybe nobody noticed. It was a good time. It was a lot of fun, but it was exhausting. You don't get paid anything to be on HGTV. At the time, my dog, Molly, they wanted me to say things like, we're gonna get you a house, Molly, and I was like, absolutely not. I love my dog, but I'm not buying a house for my dog. And in the first day, she was just a puppy, so she kept scratching at the door and kind of whining and like wanting to be around. And they made the production assistant go sit in a room and like play with her. Something else I feel like was really interesting. So the producer's from, I don't know, California. She does all the shows, and she says, I know I've done my job when I show my boss and he can't tell which house you picked. And so on the 4th day, we're sitting in this conference room in my office, and they had me say these teasers over and over again. And so it was like my 7th grade acting skills coming into play. I really liked that house in the big backyard, but pause, because it's gonna cut to commercial. Or this one was really great and it's really within my budget, but I don't know, the other one had a lot more charm. Cliffhanger. So it was fun filming. My friend Sarah and I feel like it's like a bucket list being on TV. Watching back the episode months later, it's always hard to watch yourself on camera. Still hard for me to this day to hear myself. I hate the way I sound. But man, I didn't realize how many facial expressions I made until I watched my show back. And so my friends and I would pause it when I'd be like rolling my eyes or making a funny face at something. Would I recommend everybody do House Hunters? Probably not. It takes a lot of patience, and if you don't like getting paid for your time, it's, I guess, great, but it's a lot, and it's not all what you see on TV. So